But first off tonight, our top story. A South Dakota judge has ruled in favor of people living in a Black Hawk neighborhood built on top of an old gypsum mine.
A year ago, the ground started to collapse, forcing some families out of their homes. They filed a lawsuit, and this month, a judge ruled they can seek damages from the state.
KELOLAND's Sydney Thorson talks with neighbors and an attorney on the case to explain the next steps in the legal process.
One hurdle down, but many more to go. That's how Carissa Gerving and Caitlin Samuel see it.
The goal of the lawsuit for us and being a part of it would be, one, knowing if we're safe. I think that's the number one. And second, to at least get our equity that we've built in our house and hopefully to become back competitive in this type of market.
Samuel and her family tried to buy a new home but couldn't find one in their price range, so they stopped looking.
Back in April of last year, around a dozen homes were evacuated due to the mine collapse behind me here surfacing.
We were gone for about 5 months, living in my in-laws' basement and just kind of making the most of things.
Last fall, Gerving and her family decided to move back home. She is cautiously optimistic about the court hearing and the future.
We're just also being realistic, knowing that we still have a long fight ahead, because they could file that class action and the state could offer to dismiss, and this thing could be dragged out for years, while we're still living on top of a gypsum mine, not knowing if we are safe or not.
That's the number one, is to get them out of there and make them safe. And then the second is to make them whole. Give them what they've lost in terms of the value of their homes, so they can go and buy other house somewhere else and live the rest of their lives.
Attorney Kathy Barrow says the next step will be to certify the lawsuit's class action status.
In the game of basketball, just because one person makes a shot, it doesn't necessarily mean that you win the game. We certainly applaud and celebrate the success, knowing there are many more to come.
In Black Hawk, Sydney Thorson, KELOLAND News.
KELOLAND News reached out to a state's attorney on the case who had not responded in time for the airing of this story.